Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, it says it right down there at the bottom of the screen. I hope you've all been well, I hope you've had a productive week. It's been very busy at work for me, but I'm glad to be here again in the studio. If you remember from last week, I was using my new microphone, and about a quarter of the way through the evening, the microphone just froze, it just stopped doing what it was doing. It seems to be working now. I've done a couple of tests. I can see the little equalizer doing its thing over there. So I hope that you can hear me nice and clearly. And if it stops doing its thing again, then I'll just transfer to the gaming headset over here. I use this one to kind of listen to my own voice because I like the sound of my own voice. Yeah, I'm one of those people. and then this one's for you. So let me know what the sound quality's like. Let me know if the music is too loud. Let me know if you can't hear me. Or let me know if you're fed up with my voice. Anyway, tonight is the Online Painting Club. If you're new here, we're not like a tutorial show or anything like that. There's loads of that stuff already out there. Go and have a look. There's loads of cool stuff. This is just a place where you can come along, paint your minis, and kind of make some friends over here in the live chat with Leslie and Adrian. Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along this evening. And for the next 2 hours, I'm going to be sitting here painting my miniatures, just talking away, and generally having a good time. If you do like what we do please consider subscribing to the show. Every little bit really helps me make this community grow, and it is growing. We've been up and down, but ever so slightly. We just kind of grow every month. We are a little bit bigger than the last one, and that's really cool. That's really exciting. If you like what we do, subscribe and share. Get the name of Easy 8 out there so that other people can benefit from having like a little club where they can come along and paint their minis, because I know that we've all got those hordes of grey bits of unpainted plastic lying around, and if it wasn't for this show myself, I wouldn't do anything. And it's nice just to be able to, in a very busy week, be able to carve out 2 hours at the very least to be able to do a little bit of something, and you know, and make some progress on my ever-growing horde of plastic. If you were here last week, you would have seen me painting my 2 little Chaffee tanks, 15mm tanks for what I like to play What a Tanker, but there are other 15mm games out there. Chain of Command and Flames of War, to name just a couple. This week, I'm going to be carrying on with those 2. I was really, really happy with the simplicity of what I did last week and the overall turnout of them. Like the effect has been phenomenal, and I'm blown away by how good they look. They make me look like a pro, and I'm actually rubbish. Today, not only am I going to be doing those guys there, but I'm going to be doing my little Hellcat as well. I've made an M18 Hellcat, and I was having such a great time making him. He was fiddly, but I've had such a great time making him, and I was having some excited chats with my dad and the community over at Facebook as well, that I decided to put loads of stowage bits on him. Say loads of stowage, it was some bits of stowage on him, so he's got like a little bit of dressed up stuff on him as well, making him look really cool. Interestingly though, no crew, and it's an open-topped tank. So, I mean, I'm not really bothered about that, but all my other open-top vehicles have got a crew in them, and this one doesn't. So that's just an interesting little thing. Yeah, cool. So, brilliant. If you are painting anything this evening, do let me know. I am genuinely interested in what it is that you're painting. So if you're like working on something this evening, and maybe you're kind of, I don't know, maybe you're just struggling and just looking for some motivation, then this is the place to do it. Come and let us know. Join in the live chat over there, or if you fancy, you can drop a little comment down there. Maybe you're watching retrospectively, and that's okay too. We're watched across the world, despite the small community that we are, which is very cool. If you want to, you can also find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Instagram, and at the end of the show, I often hang around for at least a little while over at Discord at the Easy 8 After Party, and I'm going to be on there today. I want to tell you guys, not on the show today, because that's not what this is all about, but if you'd like to join me at Discord at the end of this evening, I'm going to tell you about a very proud thing that has happened to me at work. I've been working very hard for years, obviously, but since the pandemic, I've been working very hard to get the little centre that I work at back on its feet again. Today, I received some acknowledgement for the hard work that I've been doing. And I do work very hard, and do you know what? Come along, and I'll tell you the very exciting short story of the recognition of my hard work. And I just kind of want to tell some people because I'm just super proud. I've been working around the clock to get that done. That's work life. This is painting life. Let's go over to the workbench. Let's get you over there. If I can find the button, here it is. Brilliant, so here's my little Hellcat. It's so cool. I got a Chaffee 1 and Chaffee 2, and I got my Hellcat. And the reason I wanted to paint all 3 of them together, and the reason I didn't paint them all together, is because they are all based off of the same chassis. So this is the M24 Chaffee. Really cool light tank. It's succeeded the Honey tank, or the Stuart, which is the M3 and M5 Stuart. This tank was a wonderful tank and did see service all the way through World War II, and it was loved by its crews who named it Honey. It was a honey to drive. But very quickly throughout the war, the German defences, or offences I suppose, did a very good job of taking it out, because I'm sure that it's just made with chocolate bar wrappers really. So this tank was made as a bigger gun in it. Doesn't have the little 37mm cannon in it. It now has a 76mm cannon. I think it's 76. Anyway, it has a standard gun in it. But it's much more heavier armor than the Honey. It's still a light tank, so it doesn't have all that much armor, but because of that, it goes really fast. In fact, it goes like the clappers. So it was a really good late war scout tank, really, really fun. I think it's a really exciting looking tank. When you look at this tank on the side profile, it looks like if you were asked to draw a tank and you very quickly doodled one, this is what it would look like. I just think it's a really nice looking tank. On that coin, the Hellcat is based off of the same chassis. So you can see here, really, really similar, if not identical hull. Yeah, it has a slightly flatter top to it. Because they stuck a big 76mm cannon, which it comes off the Sherman, the later Sherman variants, and it's open top, stripped of all its armor, so this thing went really, really fast. It only has a 76mm cannon. It doesn't have anything bigger than that, which is what you think a tank destroyer, which is what this is, would carry. It didn't. It just had the standard later Sherman armament. But the fact that it could move so fast meant that it could be deployed in the right places at the right time, which is kind of exciting. It actually has the highest kill to loss ratio of World War II out of any tank, which is also fascinating. But critics do say that it wasn't actually a very good tank, and I suppose this is where opinion really comes into it. The stats and figures say that it was one of the best tanks out there. However, critics will say that it was down to the experienced crews that piloted the vehicle. So there's a little takeaway. I like him. I think it's beautiful. I really like these tanks. And my plan today is, while I'm painting these two Chafees to kind of carry on with them, I'm going to carry on with this bad boy. I'm going to try to bring this bad boy up to scratch over here. We've got some more people joining us in the live chat today. We've got Jeff. Hi, Dad. How's it going? Just to kind of to catch up on the live chat there, Leslie says, Yodel, hello, hi, howdy doody do, greetings in, and many head nods. Yeah, good evening all from Adrian. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming along again. It's nice to see you. Like I say, it's been a busy week, and I always look forward to coming in and chilling out with you guys over here. Leslie says, I am well, and I'm glad your mic is working right, and I can hear you fine. That is fantastic news. I would say, let me know if you can't hear me, but I'll only know if I look over. Anyway, so, yeah. Oi oi, says Jeff. Tyranids, lots of nids. Nids. Yes, Leslie, I do, because you gave them all to me. Thank you so much. I've got a box of Adeptus Mechanicus over there, and I've got a box of Tyranids down there somewhere. Coming out of the wazoo, actually, mate. Yeah. Jeff says, yes, it is the 75mm main gun. That is, I assume, on the Chaffee, yeah, because it's a 75 on these bad boys and the 76 on the Hellcat. Standard armament, just a different chassis. They can go faster, really. Super deployable. Evening to you all, gentle people. Hi, Mike. Thanks for coming along. Nice to see you again. Brilliant. Let's crack on. I'm going to carry on with these guys a minute, because what I need to do, though they look really cool with all their staining on them, doesn't that look brilliant? I'm really happy with them. All I do need to do is do the undersides. You don't really see the underside very much in any of the games that I do. I just like to be persistent? I just like to see it through. Diligent, that's the word. I like to see it through, but also you do see under the glasses and around the back here. So I'm just going to pop the little turrets off so they can lie down nice and flat. Pop the turrets over there. This one's going to go over there as well. I'm just going to turn them over and just going to do that at the undersides. Here we go. And then what I need to do really, do the tyres. I'm going to see if I can do the return rollers. The return rollers on this one are hidden underneath the side skirts. I'll do it as best I can. They are tired. And then the tracks on them. And then any other little bits of details. There's some tools and things and little tracks, pieces and stuff on there. Look. Same on this one. It's exactly the same model. Yeah. And yeah, just make them look a little bit grimier. A little machine gun on the front. Yeah, just those little details there. I don't know if I'll have them all finished tonight, but I'm going to give it a good go, see how much I can get done. So, what I need to do is go over to my Agrax Earthshade, give it a bit of a shake, and pop that open. Here we go. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my piece of paper. I'm going to bring in my dark piece of paper at the moment, because it's got so many layers of paint on this piece of paper here. that it's kind of waterproof. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop him here, and that way I can do messier work with my Agrax Earthshade. Now, the reason I make this messy is because I'll do one at a time. I kind of slap it on, move it around where I need it to be, and then I come in with a wet brush and sort of move it around a bit. Here we go. Gone all quiet now, let my concentration voice. I'm really excited with tanks at the moment because this weekend, the Easy 8 community, by command, by request, are going back to the Tank Museum. I've got my tickets right beside me, and we are going to be going there tomorrow. We are meeting at 7 AM sharp. Okay, someone says I'm always late. I'll be there before you. I hope, but like I'm so knackered. I'm so tired. I'm actually quite poorly as well. I had a really ticky tummy last night. I'm feeling better now, but yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night, and I've been on very early shifts at work because we're so busy. Been staying on late as well, so I've been pushing up to 13-hour days lately. So tomorrow, yeah, we're off to the Tank Museum, and I think Mike, you're joining us as well, and you've not been before, so it's going to be really, really exciting. I've been loads of times, but that's okay with me, because there's tanks in it. Now this looks a little bit messy underneath this tank, that's fine. What I'm going to do is just get this on there, and I'm just kind of trying to create a bit of a filter, make it look a bit grubby grottier. Turn them around. Just getting the insides of the wheels in there, just for consistency more than anything. We've got Kez has joined us. Hi, new Battle Tech Kickstarter started yesterday. Was funded in less than a minute, and at the moment it hit over is that 300,000? Is that £3 million? Is that £3 million with 27 days to go? Exciting times. Yes, mate. That just goes to show you how popular BattleTech actually is, isn't it? It's often, you know, like noted to be the opposition to Warhammer 40,000. They came out at roughly the same sort of time. BattleTech slightly beforehand, I believe. Man, 3 million. That's not a typo, is it? That I'm reading that's 3 million. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, like Leslie's saying, it's amazing that it's gotten that far that quick. Hi, Dave. Thanks for coming along. Nice to see you again, mate. 3 million. I just don't believe it. It's just mental. 3 million. You couldn't even count to 3 million at that time. Fact. Right, just wash the brush out. Get a bit of water there. And now what I do is I just kind of like see where there's this pooling up over here on the side. That's going to leave a really big ugly tide mark. It's starting to do it already. So just with a wet brush, just break up that tide mark. And what I'm doing with no paint in the brush is it picks up the excess, and then I can move it around. And having a wet brush just means I'm not going to drag that paint. I'm going to kind of just move with it. I don't really mind about this mottled effect, but I would try to avoid that on top of the tank. Yes, 3 million. About to take a slightly older than 40k. Yeah, I thought so. 3 million. I don't believe you. God, no, I believe you. It's just insane, though, isn't it? That's what happens when you get worldwide on Kickstarter, right? Just goes to show that our idea last week of having a crowd-funded Easy 8 tank. Hey, Kez, go let Chris know. There we go. Right, I'm going to pop that just over there, off to the side, and now I'm going to come back to this one. My light is quite low here, and as I'm moving my brush around, I'm actually knocking the brush on the cables to move that one out of the way. With BattleTech attracting that much funding, how has it remained off my radar? Is that the one with the big roboty things? Yeah. But I think if you said big roboty things to any die-hard BattleTech fan like Kez, you might upset them a little bit because they're not robots. Apparently, it's a really cool background lore thing, story. It's set, slightly in the future, a couple hundred years in the future. Mankind has colonized beyond the solar system, masses of planets and stuff, all within the galaxy. and wars are fought on futuristic battlefields, and some of the machines that they have are battletechs, big bipedal, or often not bipedal, quadrupedal some cases, and in one case I think even a tripod, but big robot suit things. And they're not like anime super fast things like that. They are actually, while they are speedy, they are, you know, like mobile legged tanks, and it's just a cool story. And you know, it takes great skill and courage to pilot them, and they're often very flamboyant people. So they're almost in some ways like knights, because they like to wear heraldry and they're very sort of bold and out there. Generally, that's the stereotypical thing. And there are different types and different classes, different weight classes, ranging from, I believe, up to from 25 tons, I think. Is that right, Kez? Up to 100 tons. So you get like light, medium, heavy, and assault. There's loads of video games on them and tabletop games and stuff, and they've actually just kind of reborn BattleTech again with BattleTech Alpha Strike, and Kez and I have played that, and it's fantastic. The old version of the game, called Classic, or known as Classic, can bog you down in a lot of rules and, you know, and like sheets and stuff. And if you like that, then it's definitely the game for you. It's very, very cool. But some people just kind of like that more quick fire thing, and you kind of are keen to take lots of mechs. So if you're playing Classic, it can be a bit much. But Classic is designed to take like a lance, which is basically a squadron of four. Yeah. So that's kind of the idea with Classic, but Alpha Strike allows you to play with more if you want to do it. It's quicker, it's faster. It kind of does what a tanker does for sort of tank games. It keeps it sharp and fun. And I used to beat Kez all the time, and then one day Kez cottoned onto my tactics and then started to beat me. So yeah, it is fun. It is a good game. Right, cool. I've done that as well, so I can just go and sit over there too. Brilliant. Right, now here comes the fun and slightly frustrating bit. Before the show was going live, I was cleaning out my airbrush and I stuck it in a sonic bath. And even though I thought that my airbrush was pretty clean, it was really, really clogged. Like big chunks of paint were coming out of it. So really good to have the sonic cleaner. If you're ever going to get an airbrush, just spend 20-30 quid and get yourself a sonic bath. You just put like water in it, warm if you want to, drop of washing up liquid in there, turn it on, and it just kind of you know, sonically adds bubbles, vibrations through the water. The metal can take it, but little bits of debris can't, and they kind of get sonicked off. And it really does help clean your airbrush out. I'm a bit concerned that the nozzle still needs a bit more attention. So inside here there's a nozzle, and it's really, really small. It's very difficult to get in there and clean it. And because it's so small, it's very easy to block. I'm a bit concerned it's a little bit blocked up. My compressor also has a leak that is really starting to get a bit carried away. So I'm hoping that it doesn't keep going off all the time. Anyway, let's get another spray piece of paper in here. Here we go. So, just wait for the compressor to charge up. It is all clean in there. Let's get the paints out that I was using last week. Here are the paints that I was using last week. This is the AK range modulation set for Olive, US Olive. Like I said last week, I like to do my smaller vehicles lighter, makes them look a bit more appealing. So rather than going to the straightforward base, I go to the light base, and that's where I'm going to start. So I'm just going to give this one a really good shake. Stafford's come to join us. Hi guys, no internet at home, so joining in tonight. Not joining in tonight, see you in the morning. Okay, Staff, I'm sorry to hear about the lack of internet for you. We'll see you tomorrow at the prescribed meeting place to go to the Tank Museum. Take care, mate. Have a good evening, won't you? Some more comments going in. 20 tons to 100 tons with experimental super heavies. Yeah, up to 110 tons? Heavier than the Tiger 131 then. Oh, I meant 100 tons. Yeah. Up to 100 tons. So yes, they are big. Like, I think the largest mech, the largest standard mech, is up to 13 meters, I think. That's still pretty tall, right? Anyway, just going to give this a good waz on the Easy 8 Wazamatic. Wonder if Staff's still around to see that. Doesn't need that much of a shake because it was being used quite a bit last week. There we go. Lovely. If you've been keeping up on Facebook, you will know that I dropped the gasket out of my airbrush at the end of last week's show. I was talking to Mike on Discord, and I dropped the flipping thing. And my carpet conveniently has a pattern on it that looks like it's covered in 1,000 little gaskets. And then only about 3 days ago did I find it after I ordered a new internal set. So thank you very much for the catchphrase. Yeah, I bought a new needle, a new gasket, a new nozzle, and I even bought a little cap for the top of the hopper here, and that comes to 40 quid. So of course, naturally, I'd buy all of that and then find the gasket. I suppose the good thing is it's been a long time since I've owned this now, and after a while you do get wear and tear on the nozzle and the needle, so it is good to replace them. So I'm going to keep this as a backup set in case anything happens to it, and you know, I will have a new needle set, so yay. That was for staff, says Jeff. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be well happy. Anyway, Hellcat. Let's just pop the turret off here, and I'm just going to give it a light dusting here. So on the sides here, like that. Turn him around a bit. There we go. Now, like I said last week, that is coming out really, really smooth. It was about time I cleaned the airbrush out. That I'm really, really noticing the difference there. Yeah, I should have put it in the sonic bath a long time ago. I told you I'm not a pro. Anyway, yeah, the reason I don't put primer on these is because they're small, and I'm not really. It's not that hard to kind of deal with these. If it was a bigger model, even 28mm model, then I would prime it. And if it was metal or if it was, you know, resin, then the paint really comes off those much easier. The paint bonds to plastic so much better. So I would prime those. But with these guys, especially as the actual colour of the plastic is so close to the colour that I'm painting, who cares? Let's just get it painted. Let's cut out that extra step. Anyway, told you that would happen with your gasket. Actually, you really did, and it was only like seconds later that I dropped it, wasn't it? Yeah. Adrian says that's sod's law in action. Yes, it really is. I was gonna like cancel the order, but I thought, you know what, I have had this set for a long time, so I'm quite happy just to carry on. Right, just going to give a little bit of cold air blast there, just to help that first layer of paint sort of set, congeal, whatever you want to call it. How is the angry one coming on, Adrian? I know that last week you were painting Angry Ron. Is he coming on well? Pictures that you put up on Facebook the other week are absolutely fantastic. There's a little piece of debris just in there. I was shaving the model down the other day to make the turret fit better. It's a little bit of dusty plastic stuff. Yeah, people have been putting their photos on Facebook. Thank you for doing that, by the way. It's really nice to see what you guys do. I'm here, obviously, at the front end of the show. You get to see what I'm painting, but I don't necessarily get to see what you're painting unless you put photos. And I'm genuinely inspired by you guys. And the paintworks that are out there lately, absolutely fantastic. There were some photos that went up just earlier on today, and I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. But I will. When I'm finished here, I'm going to go on the Discord for a short while at the end of the show. If anyone wants to come and join me. And, yeah, then I'm going to have a little look through what you put. I'm going to go have a cup of tea downstairs with my other half. And, yeah, I'm going to look through all your stuff. Over to the turret, then. You can see the difference in the colour, can't you? Yeah. Cool. Just going to hold it by the cannon. Oh, I've run out of paint. Cool. Where is it? Light base. Quick shake. Tiny, awesome looking tanks. Thanks, man. I'll tell you what, Leslie, one day I'll have to see if I can find you and I'll introduce you to this game of a water tanker. You will love it. Anyone else who is, you know, local enough who wants to come and join, we'll see if we can organise like a big meet-up or something, like we do on our Easy 8 road trips, going out to places. We'll see if we can find a place where we can, you know, get a big enough table, get enough of us in somewhere, and see if we can have a big game. I know that Mike was quite interested. It'd be quite nice if we can meet up somewhere. And if you live further afield, just let us know, because we can make a bigger deal out of it. You know, we can book a day, we can find an event space, and whatever. I know that we are watched you know, all over the world, but I understand if you can't make it to the UK just to play a game, that's fine, but we are also watched across the UK, so if you want to meet up with us, do it. We are heading to Salute 50 in April, at the end of April. Tickets and trains, etc. are all already booked. Come and meet us there. You can come and see us at Salute. We're going over there to meet loads of people. Colin at Charlie Foxtrot Models, my dad Jeff at Purple Lion Creations, and a whole load of us from the Easy 8 community are all going up there just to go see what it's like. Go away, tiny little fly. How did you get in here? This place is hermetically sealed, don't you know? It's not. I wish it was. See what I mean about inside the turret? No crew. Maybe they're all hiding over coffee break. Cool. One thing you might notice on this turret, maybe you haven't already noticed it, maybe you haven't. Obviously we've got some stowage bits here. The fiddly parts of making this tank is on this turret. Bring my light in a little more. The fiddly part about making this turret is you've got these little rails on the side, and there's just like stowage baskets, if you like. They're on both sides. They were separate things, you had to put them on. I've got little tank tracks on the back of the turret. I saw that on the picture of a Hellcat. I thought I'd pop it in there. You've got little stowage bags here, and we've got some stowage bags over here, but there's this little hole in the top here, like it was designed to fit around a particular piece of the thing. This didn't come with any instructions for me when it was given to me as a gift, so I just kind of put it together however I wanted. I'm going to see if I can get something to go in there and cover that up. I was going to put some putty in it, I just didn't get time or then forgot about it. So there is this little hole, and now that you notice it and now I see it, we all looking at it and go like, well, it's glaringly obvious. So we're going to have to try and tackle that at some point. Yeah. Anyway, pop that down over there. And I'm just going to come to the underside here, and do the same on the underside of this tank. Just finished and picks her up on this week's video description. Excellent. I saw that there was a notification that said you put a little thing up on Facebook. I am looking forward to seeing that. Mate, I'm impressed that you got it done so quickly. Well done. It looked really good last week. Leslie says, that would be cool, Dan. Yeah, make a day of it. Definitely up for helping find a big place or place big enough to play. Yeah, that would be cool. Very nice it is too, says Jeff. That's obviously about Big Ron, Angry Ron. Adrian says it's not a British tank, so no kettle to brew it with. No, you're absolutely right. The British did use them, so it's likely that we stuck a boiler in it. But this is going to be an American tank for my American force, and there will be no boiler in there. Now, we spoke about this a few weeks ago, didn't we? About the fact that the British crews would do like a boil in the bag. They'd chuck everything into a bag and stick it in the boiler, and then like make it all together. That must have been minging. I'm gonna see if I can find the recipe, or see if I can find the particular item, see if it's something that's still made, and then I'm gonna make it as part of a video and just try it because it sounds minging. For those of you that don't come from the UK, minging is utterly gross, shameful, and without flavour. So yeah. And then of course John Takax over at Out of This World Models and Minis. There's a link to his show down there in the description. Please do go and check out John and his channel, because he's just a really super cool guy who's always been a staunch supporter of Easy 8. So we've always supported him. And he just paints anything he wants, and he's just super nice, makes really cool videos, and he took part in my Marmite challenge, being that he's from the States. Hasn't ever tried it before, and it went down really well. So I'll see if I can find like the tea thing for him, because he's also a connoisseur of his tea, being the Anglophile that he is. Hi John, if you're watching this a little bit later on perhaps. I know that you don't always get the time to watch it at the same time. The time differences and whatnot, you know? Just to let you know, John, if you ever do decide to do a live video, I will do my very best to watch it live, because you always do the same for us. So, yeah. Cool. I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of cold air. I've got a little bit of paint left in the hopper, and I like to kind of use it. So I'm just going to see if there's any sort of spaces that it needs a little bit more. I'm going to come back to the Chaffies and make sure there's no paint pooling on those guys. And this colour is just such a nice colour to use. I love working with green. There are some colours that just work better than others. And green is just a nice colour. Olive green is just beautiful. And I wonder if like painting tanks back in World War II was just as nice or as easy. Probably not. They used probably all sorts of horrible paints and slapped it on with whatever tools they had. But yeah, whenever I'm painting tanks, I'll do my best to paint it in olive green because it's just such a lovely colour to work with. British had olive greens, but it was slightly different. We called it olive green. British service olive green, I think it's called. But it's a beautiful colour. I also like working with the Dunkelgelb, or the dark yellow from the German colours. But it still doesn't compare really to olive green. It's a beautiful colour. And these tanks are just really nice tanks to make, and to paint, and they just look really good. So it's just nice and easy and fun. So there were some spaces just in the bogey systems in there up against the hull, just above the wheels, that wasn't looking painted well enough. So just giving that a quick blast and now just hitting it with some cold air from the airbrush. And that is painted. And let's turn it around and do the same in here. Yeah, this is the same. I can see the shininess of the plastic in the background there. The wheels have got it, but more comments going in. I'm making bocage, rivers, bridges, and more bocage. So much bocage. The 20mm, I believe, as well, right? So a different scale. You don't often hear a 20mm. A difficult scale to scratch build stuff. If anyone's interested, Jeff is my dad. Runs and owns Pepperline Creations. He makes tailor-made terrain and buildings and things for your game, boards, tabletops, etc. And is phenomenal at it and specialises in bocage, rivers and roads. And they are really good bocage, rivers and roads. I've got some cheapy ones made by him and they're still fantastic. So yeah, credit to you. Go check him out. He's on Facebook. He's also got his website. Links again down in the bottom in the description. Yeah, go and have a look. It's my dad. Support him. He's also really nice, but he is ginger. Sorry about that. And you're coming along to the Tank Museum as well. Excited much? Cool. Right, I'm just gonna get rid of the paint here. There we go. And we are out. I'm gonna stick a little bit of cleaner water in there, so 50-50 mix. Flush that through. Bring in my purge tank. Here we go. Purge tank, of course, being quite appropriate because it's just officially been released today. Well, not released, but I think announced that the new version of Warhammer 40,000 has been completed. It's due for release. It's coming out, and apparently it's been a complete overhaul from top to bottom. So that'll be interesting. And also, Primaris Terminators. How exciting! They look the same, but they are taller than the Primaris Marine. Oh my god! I love me a Terminator Marine. I think they look really cool, and they are going to be so nice looking because they're going to be at a scale that is now coming up to that heroic scale size. And it just means that players get to keep their old Terminators if they want to, but if they want to invest in new ones, then they can, and they're just going to look really good. That's really cool. I bet we could ask about how to make a tank brew tomorrow, and I don't mean brew. I don't mean brew up. Oh no, well we can brew up, but not brewing up, right? No, we should definitely find someone and talk about all of that. You're absolutely correct. Looking forward to seeing some tanks again, says Dave. Dave's going too. The whole team, the whole community. It's gonna be cool. You can see the Panther. I just don't know how big it is. Right. I'm just going to go back over to the Chaffies. Let's have a look how these guys are doing. Almost dry there. Cool. Just looking for any bad pooling. No, these guys are fine. You can stay over there. Just keep drying. Doing good. Doing good, son. Right. Back character, the Hellcat. I want to use some shadows on him now. Some shadows. So I've got some dark base, I've got some shadow here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to dark base. And I'm going to... Oh, do I want to work my way down? I did say that last time when I did the Chaffies, I wish I went to the shadow. So I'm going to just do a couple of drops of base. I'm just going to work my way down the gradient. And I'm going to go all the way down to shadow. Because I like to shadow my tanks. I am going to give them a bit of a waz. Looking forward to 40k 10th edition. The data sheet layout and everything sounds very cool. And oh yeah, look at that. Adrian says, not to mention the return of the line. Yes, the new Loyalist Primarch. I've seen the model. I'm not entirely enamoured by it, but I don't hate it. I think it's good. I'm looking forward to seeing all the different paint styles and whatever that people do, and it's going to be really, really cool. I think I prefer him with his helmet on. Yeah. Looks a little too noble. You know what I mean? And that's in the paint styles that it's been done in anyway. So all I'm doing here is I'm just spraying on the darker olive colour here. This is just the standard olive base. Just for some difference of colour. And I'm being really, not light with it, but I'm not being accurate. No, I'm not being fussy about it. And I'm just kind of focusing that at the back end there. And then I'm just going to purge that colour out. Brilliant. That's just like a little bit. Now I'm going to go to dark base. This is where you'll start seeing the differences. Again, I'm just going to give this a bit of a waz on the Wazomatic there. Jeff says the Brits used to call a tank fire a brew up, so when it hits, it's a brew up. It means light and fire, yeah, because all that ammunition would go up, wouldn't it? And it was quite a thing. They would fizz. So yeah, when we're talking about going and brewing up in a tank, that's not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about brewing up a brew. 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of dark base. All about that base. No treble. There we go. You can see that's darker on there. So what I'm going to do now is a little bit of zenithal, I suppose. And make sure that I'm coming in the top of the tracks and the wheels with a bit of this darker colour. It'll be a subtle thing, if anything, when you see it on such a small model, but it will make it look like there's a little bit of shadow in there. And then on this side, cool. Now the underside. Oh, I've run out. I need a couple more drops in there. So I'm going to do the underside of the front and the rear. And then I'm going to come in with a shadow colour as well. It's amazing how far just a couple of drops of paint will go through the airbrush when you're using it right. And I'm also going to hit the back end here, a little bit of this dark olive. I'm going to put one more drop in because I like the back ends of my tanks to look a little bit darker, because it makes them look a little bit grotty, a little bit grimy, and that's where all the grimy stuff's going to be. Did you order your transfers? No, but I did something almost as good, and I have been looking through and have like pages open, just trying to find the right ones for me. So I'm halfway there. Thanks for being pushy, like I asked you to last week. No, I've been looking at different providers basically, so that I get the ones that I think will look nicest for me. We're looking at British ones at the moment. I think the Allied stuff will be nice and easy because Allied stars is kind of really all I want. But yeah. Just take a little bit of the shadowy colour inside that little spare wheel on the front. Nice. And of course I do have to do the turret, so I will come back to that in a minute. Okay. I'm We are out of the dark base. I'm going to go over the shadow, and I can't remember if I used the shadow last week. It looks like it needs a lot of mixing, so I'm just going to give it a really good shake for a minute. You told everyone to bug you. No, I did. Thanks for bugging me. Keep bugging me. Like, perhaps I'll go over them all with you tomorrow when we go to the museum. I don't want to like go too over the top with all of the decals. I just kind of want a few bits and pieces, like little mini details, really. Like when you look at it, it's quite obvious it's a British tank because it's gonna have like, you know, those little symbols. So they have like little coloured geometric shapes. That they have like circles or triangles and squares, and they all mean things. And I'll try and be as accurate as I can, but at the same time, I don't really care. I just want to be able to have some different looking things on them, and that when you see them, you'll see those shapes, you'll see those colours, and you go, I identify that as a British thing straight away. That added with the camouflage will all add up and make sense to you. Again, if you look at the American stuff, it should look like it. It might have a little American flag on it perhaps, but it will certainly have the Allied star, and that is just then obvious, eye-catching, and you get it. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. Again, German stuff, it just needs maybe a tank number on the turret and the Iron Cross, or what I believe they call the Vulcan Cross. I think is what it was called. Okay, just checking the time. 22. We're doing well. We're doing really well. Gonna hit it with a little bit of shadow colour, just the tiniest amount on the back. Brilliant. We're looking at a really light hull at the front, and it goes into a dark hull at the back. Again, just on the back here, I've got the airbrush really quite far away, because I don't want it to be that intense on these parts. I just kind of want it to be, you know, light dustings. Underneath, we can go for quite a dark colour. We can get inside the wheels there. Nice. Excellent. It's looking cool as. Just get rid of that. There we go. I'm going to let that just sort of dry over there for a minute, and now I'm going to come back to the turret. Cool. I've got the base colour on there, so let's give it a little bit of darker base. 1, 2 drops. Okay, we're going to go for 3. It's a bit bubbly, so it just kind of poured in. Whatever. Again, just to the back, especially underneath. I'm going to see if I can get it inside there, but I know that the inside of a tank would be painted differently, so that, not really knowing much about that, I'll come back to that another day. For now, I'm just happy for it to be this colour. Lovely. Just going to run a bit of cleaner water through it because I've had a lot of colours in there now. There we go. Just give it a bit of a purge. You can watch me purging my airbrush. How's that for you? Lovely. Cool. What colour next? Dark base. I wanted to do a third drop, but just 2 drops would be fine. It's weird how my lights react to there being white paper on the tabletop, isn't it? It's like it can't handle the pressure. So it all kind of goes a little bit darker. That white balance for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Tacax clamps. I think that's what I called them last week. Clamping tweezers that John told me that I should probably invest in. So I did. Thanks, John. Very useful for situations just like this. Just gonna hit it with a bit of cold air. Cool. And then finally over to the shadow colour. But we're not done yet because we want to go into some highlights as well. I'm just going to go 2 drops in there. Look, there we are. Here we go. So what I'm going to do, just going to turn it sideways a little bit. Just so I can get under the back of the turret. Again, you're not going to see it. I just know, you know, and it's important that I satisfy that part of me. There we go. That's literally that. So I've done like a little bit of darker shadow here. So even though it's kind of still darker greens under the whole underside of the cannon, it's lighter on the top, darker underneath. The darker colour is based down here. Just, you know, if anything, it's practice, isn't it? So now, again, I'm just going to put a little bit of cleaner through here because I want to go into some lighter colours. And I'm going to start doing some more reflective colours to the front of the tank. And what I do here, if I bring the hull back in, just like I explained last week, I like to kind of focus on the sort of the corners, if you like. So I'm going to do like a light section here and a light section here. Ooh, got a bit of bubbling going up on my airbrush. Told you there might be a blockage building up. Let's get rid of those bubbles. I just sprayed watery bits everywhere. Clever me. I didn't like that. I'm also buying a lid for the hopper, so that it will avoid doing things like that. Because if I had models that I've been, you know, working on and slaving over for months, and then I sprayed paint water everywhere, I'd be very cross. But it's okay, it's just in my eyes, so yay. Just a bit of cold air underneath, here we go. Jeff says, oh, fact, the Hellcat had 526 claimed kills. That's some bold talking right there. And those are going to be against big cats as well. That's what they would have been taken against. They were there to deal with the big armour. So we're looking at things like Panthers and above. Probably would have had a little bit of everything, but you know, when you get tank destroyers on the field, it's to deal with the latest armour. The Hellcat was mid to late war, so we're looking at Panthers and above, even probably up to things like King Typhus. I don't know how successful they would have been. It's only a 76mm, but you know, big armour. Right, pop that down there. Bit of air on this as well. Lovely. Right. So we've got a couple more highlighty colours to go. Got just the highlights. I'm not going to go to the shine. I think it's too much. It's a really, really bright colour. I didn't do it with the ones last week. It's probably inappropriate. So just a little bit of highlight colour here. I am going to give it a bit of a waz. 526 claimed kills. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lovely tank as well. Apparently, I was told the other day that no matter what they do, they will always leak oil. And the pilot of the Hellcat said that the cat always marks his territory. I think that's funny. Here's my highlight colour. Excellent. We can see it's much brighter, can't we? So let's go straight to the hull. Just going to get a bit of air on the sheet here because that's quite wet. They're going to be putting down a sticky wet paint. A couple of little spots there that just need a little bit of drying. Right, okay. Just tiniest highlights there. What I'm going to do now, because I've done the shadow bits under the wheels, so I'm going to do some highlights. So just at this angle. There we go, some zenithal highlights. Probably not even worth doing on a model this size, but no, I like to do it because I'm weird. Just making sure that my microphone is working there. Wonder if you can hear my compressor in the background with my exciting new microphone. The microphone is working. Oh, I went a bit bright there, didn't I? I'll kill that down later. There we go. I think the hull is probably ready to go. Right, and now do a bit on the front of the cannon there, just on the tip, and then just a little bit here on the top of the turret. Actually went a little bit too heavy. I was trying to get a little bit of light inside the turret there. It looked quite cool, but then I went too heavy. So I am just going to go back and do just a tiny drop of light base, just to kind of bring that top bar back again. There we go. A bit too bright. I didn't want it to be that bright, so it'll be so gentle. Here we go. There, that really works. That's cool. No, I like that. Nice. And now, if you bear with me, I'm just going to run some cleaner through my airbrush. So I think now we're just at the point where we're going to do some washes and then some details. So let's get rid of that. Adria says, next model, do I do Belisarius Call or Lord Solar Leontus, or start my Rogel Dawn battle tank? But you know, I'm going to say the battle tank, just because I think it's kind of in flavour with what I'm doing here, and I've been told it's a really nice model to kind of build. I think there might be a thing about things now, but it certainly looks cool. What I like about it is that there's definitely homage to real tanks, as there always is. And you can see like other designs kind of coming through, and they kind of done something new with it at the same time. I think it's really exciting. It is big. It's probably too big for what I'd like to field, but you know, if you're into those things, it's perfectly valid and it's got a place. I like it. I think it's new. It's interesting. You know, it's bringing in new people, right? You got to keep up with it. So yeah, I'm gonna say the tank next. However, if you want to do a Belisarius Call cooperative, I've got a model of Belisarius Call. He's fully made. He was given to me as a gift. I'm not going to tackle him just yet, but maybe if you want to, we could do like a little thing on him if you wanted, like a little duo thing. Does that sound like something you could be interested in? We can talk about it later if you like. Always nice to be able to do something with the community, you know. Anyway, airbrush is done. We're going to turn that compressor off and just let it leak silently in the background. Poor little thing's been going like the clappers. It's really hot to touch. Mike says, I had an AdMech army once, but I sold it before I finished building it. Yeah, I remember you talking to me. You said that you weren't so keen on Warhammer 40,000. You were into the historical stuff now. But like most people, it is a gateway drug into the world of miniatures and wargaming things, isn't it? Because it's so prolific. Everyone plays it. If you've got kids, chances are that their friends are going to play it, so they'll get involved in it. So you kind of know it through, by extension. Even John Hurt, the late John Hurt, was a voice actor in the Ultramarines animated movie a few years ago. And in an interview with him, he says, "Of course I know what Warhammer 40,000 is. I've got a son, so it's kind of prolific, right? It's there. It's everywhere." Right. So. I think he just needs a little bit of time to dry. I think these guys need a little bit more time to dry. The turrets are all looking good. He needs some washes. He's almost there, and we are at the time for a little break. So let's consider going. Just going to catch up on some of the comments that you guys have been saying. Oh yeah, Mike says, I'm going to say Belisarius Cool because that's the only one I'm familiar with. I see how you led into that. Yeah, he's a really detailed model. In fact, I was actually looking at moving away from tanks this week, maybe even the next week, and moving on to one of my other figures, going back to the Mechanicus, because I really like the Mechanicus. I think they're really cool. I love that steampunky vibe. I've kind of... My tune is really quite bright colours, and I try not to make them look cartoonish. I just try to make them look bright colours and realistic-ish. I just have fun with them, painting them. Tyranids are my first love. I'll always like them. And then when I do my Marines, when I get around to doing them, I would like to do them like really dark and and deep and grimy and grotty. Not grotty, but like the grimdark thing. The thing. I really struggled saying that. But when it comes to the Admech, I want to be somewhere in the middle. So I've got a little Admech character here somewhere. Here he is. Here's one of them. So like bright colours, but I've tried to make them grimier, as you're probably well familiar if you've seen these in the past. We've got a bit of cat fur, and I told you it's not a sealed room. Get off, cat fur. So yeah, the bright colours. There's lots of contrast play in there. I had a lot of fun painting them, and painting with orange was the first time I'd ever done orange. I'm not the best painter, but I like the way that they came out, and I actually tried to do them as close to what they appeared in the book as possible. This isn't the Mars version, this is Riser. They're orangey. I really enjoyed it. So what I've got here is, this is I forget what it's actually called. Is it a data slave? Data Smith. And he controls or programs the big robot features. And here's one of my robots that I painted, all battle worn and damaged. You remember I did a whole feature on this guy. I really like him. I really enjoy doing it. I probably went a little bit too far with the battle damage, although it looks awesome. I did a nice little glossy feature in his eyepiece on the front, which I probably could do better if I tried again. Yeah, I had a really good time painting it, and it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And I've got a couple of these guys, but basically, this guy works with a pair of these robots, and he offers it programs and makes it better. Without him, these guys just kind of revert back to like a basic platform, if you like, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was thinking about painting this guy. He's got standard robes, so there'll be some things on there like the oranges that will come through. But there's also lots of details. The thing about this army is super detailed. Little like hands with tiny little mechanized fingers and claws and pipes and tubes and stuff over him. So that's the one I was thinking about going to next. But of course I still got to finish painting these tanks. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly whip away and go and check if I haven't left my tea too long. It feels cold. I'll be back in 10, so I'll see you after the break. Whatever it is that you do, go and change your paint water. I need to do mine too. See ya! welcome back. Just looking at some of the things that you guys are writing down here in the live chat is funny. Staff says he's back. He hates technology. Internet's on the phone now, but not on the laptop. That is literally in front of him. Welcome back, Staff, says Dave. And so do I. Welcome back, mate. I hope you get to watch some of the show at least. I agree with Mike. Have a Bailey's. It always seems to help. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Bailey's. I like the cheaper stuff. I'm one of those guys. You can go to our local stores nearby and go and get yourself a cheaper Irish cream. Lovely flavour. Or if you want to go really expensive, Amarula. That's the way forward. That's what I think. I think Bailey's is a little too rich for me. Dave says, it might not be a good idea. He might cut himself again. Yes, of course, last week you did cut yourself quite badly. How is the cut, by the way? I hope it's better. He's on glass 3. Bloody internet. She's a fickle mistress, says Mike. How's the house going on, Stafford? Yeah, actually, Staff, you were making a house. You put some photos of it last week on Facebook. It looks really cool. It was a totally wrong scale, and you kind of chopped it, changed it, did lots of things to it to bring it back down to the scale that you play your games in, and that's kind of cool. If you do want to put photographs of your stuff on Facebook, just go and put it over on as a comment to the listing for this week's show. That's what we do every single week. These guys all know about it, but maybe you're new or you haven't done it before and you want to. That's how we do it, because you can't post photos to the Easy 8 Facebook page. Don't know why that is. Used to be able to. They changed something in the, I don't know, in the Matrix or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? Funny old Facebook, innit? Cool. If you are new here, don't forget that you can subscribe. Please do subscribe. It is really helpful to me. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes the show grow, and the more people that do subscribe, the more that the algorithm shares it out there for more people to subscribe. If it's not for you, that's absolutely fine, but maybe share it with someone else. It might be for them. And if you want to, because sometimes I do little surprise videos every now and then, hit that little bell icon just down there, where I think is. Yeah, hit it, because it'll tell you when I'm online, and you don't want to miss a single thing. I'm a hoot. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to go back over to the workbench and stop talking about me. I nearly talked through my transition again. Okay, here we go. So I've hit these guys all with the hairdryer. Not hit them, obviously, with the hairdryer. I've gone made a pass over them with the hairdryer so that these guys could dry up a little bit. You'll see this big white ring on here. That is the paint shrinking. That is because there was probably a lot of Agrax Earthshade, the wash on there. That basically just kind of binds the paint, and when it dries it shrinks and pours it all in. So I'll probably just brush that in, just because it's a little bit like, it's quite dark. You'll not see it, of course, because, you know, the turret goes over it, but I can't, the ADHD in me won't let me have that. So, yeah, there's a little bit on this one. See it there? Just around the turret ring. I can get the lights to stop being so bleachy. Yeah, it's there, alright. There you go, you can see it there. Trust me, it's there. Cool. Also made a pass with the hairdryer on this guy, so he's all good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my big waterproofy piece of paper, and I'm going to make the passes over him with some Agrax Earthshade. So give it a bit of a shake, and let's do what we need to do on here. So again, I'm just going to go in quite heavy. How are all your projects going on this evening? If you're working on something this evening, perhaps you're having a good time, perhaps you're having a bit of a mare, just let us know what it is that you're up to. Genuinely interested. Some people have told me that they find this show really motivating, but I have to tell you that I find you motivating. And I'm not just saying that to make it sound cool. That is the truth. Going on quite thick and heavy here. That's why that little ring appeared on the others. Look in the back, I've probably got a bit darker with the shadows over there. But I remember saying that last week with the Chaffies, so I'm just going to keep on going. It's okay for them to all look slightly different as well. There's a part of me that wants to make them all look the same, but that would be boring, really, wouldn't it? As long as they look like they're all from the same nation, that's fine. So this one's got a little tent or some kind of like bags or whatever, just tarpaulin all wrapped up there. There's another little like bag of something all wrapped up over there. There's just additional things that I stuck on it. They're in my little bits box. I've got like a little 15mm. I've got a historical box, so like actual normal things bits box, and then I've got like a fancy sci-fi not reals thing box, which has got lots of 40k things in it. so that it's if I want to find things, I don't have to go, is this a bucket that's a real bucket, or is this actually you know, a time capsule with laser beams on it? You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm playing to the right sort of genre when I'm going through my bits box. You know what this mounted soldier needs? He needs a man-pad missile launcher. It doesn't work. So it's kind of a sludge wash, which is what I'm doing here. I don't want it to be too sludgy. So you know, like I said a minute ago, I'm going to come over it and, you know, kind of like just make like a bit of a cleanup. So just try to get it on everywhere, like that. It really shows up all the details later and all the armor plates and things. Bit bright on the front. There we go. Dull it all down. A little bit heavier on the back, but rather than kind of just sludging it and leaving it, although that is appropriate, that's where all the grime would be, I'll do a second, you know, layer over it if necessary. That will probably be better. Just bring some of those details out. Bringing out the deets. Yeah, that's right. I'm fly. I can talk street. I'm cool. What I say to the kids at work, you know, they go, oh man, you're cool. I'm like, oh, I hope not. Why? The moment you're cool, you're not cool, right? The whole thing about being cool, someone says you're cool, you're not cool anymore. Not cool to be cool. But thanks. Thanks for making me cool. Thanks for making me not cool. But you're right, I'm cool. Okay. Back and front of the hull done, over to the turret. Now, of course, I've got to do the inside in there, so that's going to be interesting. Some comments going in. Let's have a little look. Leslie says, hit them with the hairdryer, smash dry models, dry, crash. Yeah, blood for the blood god, smashed models for the Lord of Change? I suppose Khorne does not care whence the blood flows, just that it flows. Smashing models, probably. It's all Khorne, isn't it? It's all Khorne. Just destruction, right? Mike says, I'm struggling to put the arms on a 15mm PSC Grenadier. Heavy weapons support teams. Yeah, putting arms on anything that small is probably going to be difficult. Best of luck. I would actually like to, you know, play some 15mm games with, you know, with troops in. I love Water Tanker. It's a real fun farce. The idea of Water Tanker is supposed to, in a fun and brief way, it's not always brief, it's supposed to like kind of simulate the confusion and the bedlam, the chaos of the battlefield, you know, in sort of 1940s, if you will, and that's what all the dice rolls kind of represent. There's no point in being able to aim at your, you know, or even pulling the trigger at your enemy if you haven't even got your shell loaded. So it's frustratingly fun. But of course it is nice to play with troops and, you know, do troop sort of maneuvers and things, and of course they don't do that in Water Tanker because it's all about the tanks. So it would be great to have a go at that at some point in the future. And I'd also love to have a go at bolt action. I'm tempted to get into bolt action because I love tanks, I love games, why not? But it's just more stuff to buy terrain for, it's more stuff to buy models for. And, you know, my checkbook only knows a certain limit. Checkbook, who uses checkbooks anymore? You know what I mean. So I play 15mm historical war games, or, you know, tank games and things, because it's easier to store all the terrain for. I'm a 40k boy, so that's where my, you know, all my major storage will be. That's why I don't, but it would be good to play it. And I believe, was it you, Mike, that was saying you can play bolt action in 15mm? I know you could play chain of command in multiple scales. Be interested. It would be good fun. Cool. Right, let's just come back to the hull over here. Just want to make sure that it's not too messy. Wash my brush out. Okay. Trying to make sure that I don't touch it on the painted areas because I will leave fingerprints in it. It's looking pretty good, to be fair. Got a little bit of tide marking going on down here, so the wet brush. And I'm just going to absorb that bit and move it over there. Absorb that bit, move it around. It's basically just pulling away from the edge of the skirt there, and I don't want it to. This wet brush capillary thing is a little trick that I've learned. Capillary action, nothing new. Use your dry brush to pick up wet paint, watery washes, and move them somewhere else. That stuff works. Using a wet brush just helps you prevent dragging paint and making it look scarred, and it's generally awful, really. It helps kind of just deposit the paint in other places. I can pick up a bit more colour with it if I want to. Just smush it around on stuff that's already drying on the model, and it will try to make a homogeneous or homogeneous, whatever how you pronounce the word, lump, and will develop a skin basically, and you'll crack it, you'll drag it, and it will look bad. So it's one of those little things that I've learned. It only seems to work with washes, acrylic washes. Using enamels, you can just use any old thinner and move it around. Cool. These are darker than this, but hopefully it will look similar and cool and whatever. Anyway, back to the turret. It's looking good. I'm liking it. It's awesome. I just love this thing. Cares if you're watching, not an awesome. You're welcome. Some more comments going in. Staff says, "Oh dear, paint water is definitely not Bailey's. Oh, please tell me you didn't drink the paint water." I've done it. I know that Jeff's got 2 mugs. One that says paint water, not paint water. Technically, not drinking came out pretty quickly. At least you didn't wash your brushes off in the Baileys. That would be awful, wouldn't it? Back in the glass, or you got to go do a clean up. I'm proper laughing. That was a snort I did there. It's just tea, but cheers. Happy Friday. Okay, just going to make sure I don't knock that paint over. What I'm going to do with these guys, before I get all painty with the details on them, just going to make a quick pass with a dry brush. So I've got a little brush here that I favour for doing dry brushing. Long bristles. It's quite stiff, but because the bristles are so long, it actually makes it quite supple, and it's got that nice sort of balance of suppleness and length and, you know, stuff and things. Cool. So what I need to do is find an appropriate colour. I'm probably going to go straight to the light base. This is the colour that I based them with, and I'm just going to pop a little bit on my palette here, or my palette, I'm going to call it my dry palette, but it's just a piece of paper with lots of paint on it. That's where I was trying to go with that. Yeah, a little bit on the brush, and this piece of paper has got so much sprayed on paint now that it's got a lot of texture to it. So it is a textured palette, and it's one of the reasons why I do keep it around. Get that bit of fluff off there. Bye bye. And the idea now is to put loads of paint onto these bristles and just remove it. Remove as much as I can. I want this dry brushing to be really, really light. Really, really light. And it's just the tiniest, lightest, awesome. Just the tiniest, lightest effect. Back of my hand, make sure it's not too much. Bit of dust on the top there, or is it a paint mark? It's a paint mark. I'm just going to do it on the top of the turret ring. Excellent. Probably removed a little bit too much there. It's going to take me a second to get right. I'd rather it be too little than too much, because removing it will be difficult. I can always build on layers, build on layers. I'm just concentrating on some areas. I don't want to go on all of them. I want the grimy bit to be grimy. So I'm just going to do like lighter passes there. Most of it's on the front. Just trying to bring up the details of the hatches and things. I'm going to get a bit more paint here. Now this paint is formulated for airbrushes. It's a very expensive paint. It's a very good quality paint. It's very, very watery. I'm not bothering to add moisture to my brush like I normally would do. I'd add a little drop like I spoke about in the past. Tank's looking good. So Dave, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to add any water because they are really watery. So now, little pass up the side there. That's picked out the details nicely. I don't know if you can really pick that up on the camera, but it is looking really cool. Did put a little photo up last week at the end of the show, what I've done so far, and it looked really cool on the camera and in front of my face. I always say this, but I can never really tell on this monitor because the monitor is cheap and old, and the quality is not that great. But it doesn't look. It looks very different to me. I can see the difference now if I compare the two. They were looking very, very similar. You can see the difference now when it's ever so slightly lighter. The panels have come out. It all looks a little bit smoother. I hope that you can see it. I quite like the griminess of them. Caring so much about the tyres because they're going to get painted in a minute as well. That looks cool. Can you see the difference? Can you see a difference? Yeah, you can, right? Cool. Out of the way. A little bit coming from my hand, you can see it there, yeah? That's what we're looking for. Gentle passes. Skirts on this one. Just bring those in a little bit. Nice. Passes in the wheels. Under the grasses. And bright is good. Bright is right. We don't want them to be too dark at this scale because when they go on the table, they kind of blend off into nothing. You're looking over the top of the whole table, you can't really see it. So bright is what you want. You want them to be slightly lighter. What you normally would do with the smaller scales. Not the best paints for dry brushing, being that they're super formulated for the airbrush, but you know, to make sure that I'm using the same colours that I went in with. Cool. A little bit on the turrets then. Not going to go crazy with it. Bit of a tea staining on this one, or a coffee staining, whatever you want to call it. See that? I'm not going to be too fussy about it. It wasn't ideal, but it does make it look quite grimy. Do a bit of focus there on the old cannon. I want it to come out a little bit brighter, especially towards the end. It sort of brings a bit of eye line focus into it, drags the, you know, draws your eye into the business part of the tank, I suppose. I'm putting a lot of focus of this colour into the highlighted areas when I highlighted the tanks where I want it to go. Bit of coffee stain in there at the back then. Whatever, who cares? Bye bye. Cool. It was just a little bit, just enough to put a little bit of an edge on them. That was all I wanted. I didn't want it to be serious stuff, you know. They look really, really nice. I'm really, really happy with them. They look cool, right? The tanks are looking killer, dude. Thanks, man. There's a little bit of shininess to them as I move them around, and the light might pick up some of like the areas where the wash, the brown wash has kind of dried, and it makes them look shiny. When I put a matte varnish over them, that will disappear. Right, let's get rid of the dry brush. Let's get rid of this thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some Corvus Black, and here comes the painstaking job of doing the tyres. I'm going to start on this one here. There's no side scats, it's going to be easier. I'm going to try and make this as painless as possible, but it is going to be a lengthy process. So, give it a good old shake. Do you know where we're going? Here we go. It's all on you, staff. It's all on you. It's the Wasmatic. We did it earlier, but you weren't here. Lovely. My palette is over there because I had loads of space available when I was making something on a product review once. So let's put these paints away. I won't put them in their box. Oh no, no! I have to have a dirty old worktop, a messy old place. So here's my very clean paint palette. Shut up! Don't judge me. I'm gonna pop that just here beside me, and I'm gonna pop my what do I call? What's it called? The Hellcat. I forgot it's called the M18 Hellcat. I'm gonna pop that over there. Right. I'm gonna get this out, and I'm gonna put a load in the palette. Wasmatic. You know it. This is Corvus Black. It's a wonderful colour for painting tyres, especially period stuff. So if it's coming out of like the World Wars, it's a great colour to use. Modern tyres are black, but it's best to paint them slightly lighter anyway. And period stuff just wasn't. It just, and black just stands out too much on a model. Don't do it. Have a better colour. I'm gonna add a bit of water into here. Okay. I'm thinking about using a smaller brush. Probably should. Let's wash this bad boy out. Okay, dudes, I've got to go. See you in the morning. Well, some of you anyway. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for coming along. Really looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. We'll see you for going to the Tank Museum. Take care, pal. Hope you've had a good evening. Ta-ra for now. Ta-ra? What am I? A northerner? Crazy. Ta-ra? Who does that? Right. This is my zero brush, which I've had trouble with the bristles splitting in the past. So, let's just see how it goes. Ta-ra. Stay classy. Oh goodness, ta-ra. My Cilla Black. Ta-ra. That's my northern accent, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, tanks. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, tanks. Right, okay, here we go. So, let's get my watch out of the way. Get you out there. So, we've got some road wheels. The back wheel here is not a road wheel, and the front wheel is a sprocket, and neither of those have tyres on, but these ones here, they do. Nice big wheels. Makes for nice painting. Not too concerned if I get it on the tracks. I'm trying to be just careful if I get it anywhere else. What I'm doing now is I'm just going around the edges of the wheels, trying to get as close to the hull as I can without getting it on the hull. Try not to get it on the tracks too much. If I do, it's not a massive issue. And then I think the front. Of course, I want to try and keep it off the hubs. There's such a thing on these hubs. They're not really, they're just tyres around a drum, but the middle bit, if you like. Again, I'm trying to not be precious about it. There's a part of you that always wants to be precious, you know, and you've just got to fight it. Already looks so much better, yeah? Now there is a little bit of inside to these, so I'm going to try and be as quick as I can. I'm not being like super focused. Just trying to get the green in there, you know. Keeping that paint nice and wet, nice and fluid. One wheel done. Or 9 more to go. I'm not going to do the insides. They're not even fully like sculpted in there, so I'm not really that fussed. Take my time. And this is where a lot of my time is going to sink away in here. You know, I'm ever acutely present. Present? That present? I know about it. What I'm trying to say. A little bit damp still underneath, despite me hitting with a hairdryer, so I'm just trying to keep my thumb within. There's no way that I can like use a clamp to hold this guy in place properly without gluing him to something, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just trying to like be gentle. I hope you can kind of see what I'm painting. Painting the tyres on a 15mm tank. That's dedication. Yeah, you got to, otherwise it stands out, you know. But you know, I'm not being precious with it. I'm going to do the return rollers on it as well. It makes a hell of a difference. I will put this tank, when I finish this side, I'll put it beside the unpainted one, and I'll show you what a difference it makes. When I did my Panzer 3 or Panzer 4, I can't remember which one now. Yeah, the difference that it makes was quite stark. What helps is a quality brush and wet paints. Keep those paints wet, keep them thinned down. Don't go too thin, you'll lose control of it and it will work against you. Also quite easy to have paint all the way up the side of the bristles, but obviously I'm using the tip of the bristles, so keeping the paint in the relevant place. A little bit of an under-painted bit in there. Nice, 2 wheels down, cool. I'll be really impressed actually if I can get this whole tank's wheels painted this evening. You can paint them muddy, or you can have a muddy tank. Yeah, I could do, but I think at this scale too much stuff is it kind of gets lost. The difference ever wanting to do it again. Yeah, like this isn't my favourite part of painting models, like these tiny little difficult details, but it's the payoff, right? It's the payoff. It trust me, it really works. But like you said a couple of weeks ago, Steph, like doing the tracks is just as painful. It is nice having the company while I do this though. So thanks for coming along. This is why I do the show. This is what I was talking about, that motivation. It's these little tasks that bring us to a grinding halt sometimes. And, oh, I've got to do that. But the payoff is great. You know, there's always a side of everything fun that we don't like. If you want it to look really cool, and I want it to look really cool, of course I do. Concentration voice again. Struggling to get it just there. Okay. This one wheel just, I don't know, just not happy with it. Keep focusing on it. Get on the inside. There we go, that's better. I think it was just going on a bit too thin. Just see exposed green coming through. There we are. A rogue bristle on there again. What is on this brush? This one, it just wants to fight me all the time. How is everyone's projects coming along this evening? Is everyone okay? Is everyone having a good enough time? Are you struggling? Are you winning? Butchy head. There we go, I'll use my paintbrush to scratch that. Starting to flag a little bit. Struggling with the consistency of my paint. I might have to bring my paintbrush out. Paint's going a little bit tarry. Just a bit more water in there. Got quite a bit on the tracks down there that I'm struggling to kind of post it into where I needed to go. I mean, posting it, like trying to get it into like the little slots or whatever, you know. Consistency on it this time. Last wheel. I've got to do the return rollers. Now the return rollers, they're just like little wheels that the track would balance on top of. Some tanks, like the Tiger 2, etc., even the Panthers, they didn't have return wheels. They actually went around really large road wheels. Having larger road wheels mean that you get better clearance on the ground, and you get like a larger surface area so that you can send the tracks over the top of them. But on smaller wheels like this, it's good to have like return rollers. They don't do anything, they just kind of freely roll when the track kind of goes back over them. But for grip and longevity, they are tired. Smaller German tanks like the Panzer III, Panzer IV, and all their variants, they had return rollers, but it was a change in design when the Panthers upwards, where they decided to just make these huge road wheels, and they had interleaving wheels as well. So there'd be these wheels, and there'd be one in the middle but behind, and it was really good for spreading out the weight. And the Panther was starting to get really heavy. And of course, going into the Tiger program, those tanks were getting enormous, carried a lot of excess weight. So they needed to have these big road wheels. It just made sense to use the circumference of them as a return roller as well. Return rollers help keep the tension track, make sure that it's all moving properly. Okay, I'm going through them faster than I thought I would. I'm going to clean the brush out a minute, and now I'm going to get on the return rollers. Staff says, right guys, too much Baileys in an early morning means I've got to go. See some of you in the morning. See you later, Stafford. Looking forward to going. It's going to be great. Dave says bye. Jeff says thanks. Yeah, man. I'm really excited. Okay. Clean brush. A little bit of water. Get that in the paint. A little bit more water. Get that in the paint too. Okay. Like painting these little return rollers because they're going to be smaller. To make painting them a little bit easier. Okay. Interestingly, just 3. Not really noticed that before, not taking much notice of these, but 3 return rollers. Oh, that is difficult. Glad I decided to do that. I'm going to go for an even smaller brush. Wow. Where's my teeny tiny one? Here it is. Cool. Okay, it's already mixed in with some water, so that's brilliant. We'll just add a little bit more bristles there. Make sure that paint can transfer nicely. The right side there. Oh, that's a friendlier brush. Much nicer. Oh, that made my eyes go cross-eyed. Stupid idea was it to do return rollers, eh? This is where it turns out on the on the Chaffee and the Hellcat that their return rollers weren't high. That would annoy me. It's like the Churchill. I thought I'd done my research. Do you have a smaller brush than this? I'm actually considering using it. Do you know what I'm going to do? On that last return roller, I'm actually going to give the other brush, the smaller brush, a go. It's got a finer point as well, so that'll be really helpful. And I normally use this one for doing like really detailed streaks using weathering enamels. So this one's got a really fine point. There you go. Really, really fine point on it. One of these smaller brushes, they don't have much belly in them, so the key go back to the palette, but also it is small. You're going to be doing that anyway. More manageable. The bristles aren't that long though, so it was quite difficult to get down the length of the depth of the tyre. Really happy with that. That was my quiet voice. I'm so sorry for going silent on you. We are 10 minutes from the end of this evening's show. So again, thank you very much for coming along this evening. I hope you're having a good time. I'm having a great time. I'm having a productive time, which is great. And just to show you the payoff of having tyres painted onto your vehicle like this, is there it is without them painted, and there it is with it painted. As you can see, it makes much more of a difference. It's quite a bit darker. Got the turret on so you can see. There we go. They're a little bit shiny. That paint has a bit of a sheen to it, but that will matte right down. Yeah, it looks really cool. If I was using black on it, it'll be too much. Too much. So now, got to go to the other side. But before we go, because I probably don't have time to finish all of that this evening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little go at playing some different colours for the tracks. Because I normally use earth, but this colour can be just too meh. It doesn't do anything. It's a bit flat. It's a nice colour, but it doesn't kind of do anything. I've got loads of different browns, and none of them are really kind of effective for it. Now, tank tracks is one of those things that they're not painted a colour. If they were, they would be factory painted black. But they get worn down, they get dirty, they get rusty. So they often go like orange or browns or rusty colours basically, but it's just trying to settle on a colour that looks good, excuse me, got the hiccups, looks good on these 15mm minis. So once then it's gonna blend in but not stand out too much, but has a nice colour that, you know, looks like it's some detail on there. So yeah, what colour shall I use? I was thinking about using the flattish kind of earthy colour, and then maybe washing it down with some Seraphim Sepia. That will add some warmth to it, will add some depth to it. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a go. Just going to give this a bit of a shake. Now, like all my paints, they're all airbrush paints, so it's super thin. Put that paint over there. I'm going to go back to my zero brush, bit of paint on there, and I'm just going to turn this bad boy over. There is a little bit of a sprue line on here, but you very rarely see that because it's upside down. In fact, there are details on the front and the rear that aren't underneath, so, you know, who cares. Now, you can see the colour here in the palette. It's just a bit, it's a meh colour. It is a really thin colour as well. Browns tend to be quite thin, especially the paler colours that they go. So I'm just going to keep it thin so that I can do multiple layers. Making sure that I work my way all the way along. This colour's just not an appropriate colour for the tracks. So I do all sorts of stains. I've done agrax on them when I think the contrast is too much. So I'm hoping that the Seraphim will be a nice filter colour. Seraphim is always a good colour wash. It rescues a lot of my work. Trying to get the edges of the track painted. Not so like the insides right now, not this close to the end of the show. That's one of those things I'll try and deal with later on. You see how I mean? It's just not an appropriate colour, is it? It looks like it's got a little bit of you know, clay mud on it, you know, a little bit of European style dusty dirt. Dave's got to go. See you later, Dave. Thanks for coming along, mate. We'll see you tomorrow at the Tanks Museum. Now this colour mix might not be the best thing in the world. It might look awful. In which case I'm going to have to go all over again. One of the reasons why I'm not focusing on like doing too much detail, so I'm not going to try and do the inside yet. I'm not going to try and do the top side of them. It's just a good place to practice where there's lots of sort of available space down here. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my airbrush while it's still here and hooked up to the compressor. Still got some air in it. It hasn't. It's all leaked out. Let me just turn the compressor back on. I'm going to apply some cool air on it just to dry that paint down, so that I can apply another colour, or another layer of the colour over the top, and then I can get some wash on it and see what it looks like. Now you can see there's a lot of contrast here. The green is now like this kind of background colour. You've got this really bright highlighty colour of the tracks, and you've got the dark wheels in there. It looks rubbish. So this colour might not be appropriate at all. I might go back to one of my old standards of charred brown, which is a much darker brown, and then do like a tiny little highlight over it again. Less is more on these models. Less is more. So this is just kind of a bit of a play around, a bit of a test. There we go, a bit drier. Turn that compressor off. Shush you. There we go. Back to the brown colour. Let's just get another layer on here. I don't think this is going to work. It's just one of those things I had in my head, and yeah, I just wanted to give it a go. During the intermission as well, I was looking through all my colours. I've got all these flesh colours as well, and they go really dark. They're just the wrong colours, the wrong hues. I'm just trying to find like a happy sort of colour that just meets all the needs. There's a little bit of rust, there's a little bit of wear, it's a little bit of mud. It doesn't stand out, but it draws your eye at the same time. Less is more. Brush out, and I'm now going to let that dry a minute. Take it back. Tyres look great. Suppose you only have a few colours on allied armour, so anything you can add is good. Yeah, there was the possibility that would have been too much. I wonder if that rear tyre, that rear wheel is tyres. You know, I don't think it is. I'm going to have a little look anyway. We'll see a Chaffee tomorrow at the Tank Museum, so it'll be good to have a little look. I think it's nice. I think it adds a lot. What is important, of course, is making sure that this track is nice and dull, because as you can see here, it's a lot to look at. There's a lot going in on there, and that when you compare it to here, while this still looks good, and if you put that on the tabletop, no one's going to complain. It's just nice to have that little extra detail on there. And if it was black, it would look awful. It would look absolutely awful. Anyway, I'm going to come in with a bit more air from the airbrush, because I've still got a little bit left in the compressor. I've even got the hairdryer down at my feet as well, so if I needed to, I will. Leslie says, I must depart now. I'll put some pics up on Facebook. Thanks again for an awesome show. Hope you all have a good day with the Tank Museum tomorrow. Take care. Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for being a constant supporter of this show. Thank you for your company this evening. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon, mate. All right? Cheers, man. Bye-bye. Just a little blow dry. I don't think this is going to work. I think this is already too light. When you compare it to charred brown, a darker brown. This is one of my favourite colours. It often gets lost with this green, so I could highlight it a little bit. So yeah, just looking at it now, it just looks wrong, doesn't it? But we don't find out unless we go for it. So I'm off now. Early start of work tomorrow. Ciao for now. Thanks, Adrian. Have a great day at work tomorrow. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming along, and stay in touch. Let's have a little dialogue going about the whole Belisarius call thing. If you want to, you can obviously message me privately on here, however you want. See you soon. Take care, mate. Bye bye. Right, the last little thing here. I'm just going to get that with a little bit more air. There's a tiny bit left in my compressor. I just know this is going to be wrong. I don't even know why I'm going for it. I've just got to satisfy that demon in my head. Okay, Seraphim Sepia. A nice warm brown. That's the wrong colour. That is the wrong colour. Sometimes you just got to follow an idea through. You just got to work it out. That is all wrong. I'm gonna be honest with you. That looks like cat turd. It's, my cat has a tummy trouble, and it looks like that. That is not the right colour. I'm gonna save myself some time, and I'm gonna just collect that up with a dry brush, and then I'm gonna go over it with charred brown. I'm not unhappy. I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I gave it the go. Sometimes you just got to see these things through. What I'm going to be doing when I get the next little bit of time off is I'm going to be doing all of these tank tracks and wheels and stuff together. I'll bosh them out in an evening. It's going to be hard work because there's a lot of wheels. There are 10 wheels on each tank, so that's 30 wheels in total. And then the tank tracks, like Staff says, is just hard going. It's depressing. But I'm going to do my very best and get them all done. My Hellcat, of course, still needs to have a lot more sort of washing done on it, like stain washing things, you know, to kind of bring it up to scratch with these guys. But you can already see that he's joining in the colour. Look at that. Doesn't he look fantastic? He's lacking it on the sides a little bit at the moment, but he's starting to look a part of the squadron, and that is amazing. It's a nice busy turret. There's loads of stuff going on there. That's looking cool. They're just awesome, fun tanks to paint, and I highly recommend anyone to have a go with them. So please do. Anyway, do you know what? We are done here. Let's move away. Let's go back to the screen. I'm having great fun painting these tanks. They're just wonderful. They're really nice shape. They're really nice sculpted. There's not loads and loads of stuff on them, but enough to get stuck into if you want to. I think the trick is to keep it simple. And I've got to try and keep that present in my mind as I'm going. So yeah, it's just a bit of a slog with the wheels and the tracks, but it can be done. I can do it in a day, and they're going to look all the much better for it. And that's why I like to always break things up. That's why I'm going to get these done and move on to a new project away from tanks for a little bit, go back to 40k for a little while, so that I can just kind of recover from the whole tank tracks things. These tanks get painted so easily, so quickly, that actually I find that I come back to tank tracks and wheels so quickly. I'm always doing the same thing. So yeah, I'm gonna leave tanks after these three for a little while. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you've had a great evening. I hope you've enjoyed what we do here. If you are new, or even if you're not and you just haven't done it yet, please do subscribe to the show, because it really helps the community grow, and the community is getting really cool. We get loads of new subscribers all the time, and I just want more and more. That sounds greedy, but you know, I want this to be successful. So, and so do you guys. You've all told me that. So thanks for being a part of that. Thanks for making the community great. I am going to be going to the Tank Museum tomorrow. I've got my tickets right here, and we're all going. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm absolutely stoked. I'm going to be tired. I might sleep in the car. Hopefully I won't be sleeping too long, because I might miss out. Anyway, thanks for being a part of it all this evening. I will see you all guys next week. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, and keep on painting. I'll see you later. Take care now. Bye-bye. Gonna go to the Tank Museum. It's gonna be great. You can come see me on Discord now. I forgot to say that a minute ago.